What's going on, everybody? How you doing today? Back here with the Sales Guys Unlimited Sales Growth Podcast. Fred alongside
Kevin
again here.
Yeah.
Sorry it's been a little bit time in between our last podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Going forward in the future, we're going to have definitely a more consistent basis. Just trying to sort out some things with our program and really getting everything together as we're new to this. So look for this to come out on a more consistent basis. If you do have any questions in the meantime, you can always email us at salesguys.unlimited@gmail.com, and then you can always check out our Instagram at salesguys_unlimitedgrowth. You can give us a follow on there, and check us out on our YouTube channel, of course. As we're doing this, subscribe, follow along. We'll have obviously all our past episodes and future episodes on there, and maybe some live videos coming out as well too. So today we kind of just wanted to touch base on some more closing stuff. Get into like trial closing, the things that me and Kevin do on an everyday basis when we're in the home. What makes us successful, tie downs with the customer, with your product, your warranties, yourself, your individual, how you're tying that in, and really getting the customer to commit. So we're going to go over some stuff with that. So if you want to maybe start with a couple things that you like to do after your masterful presentation or through the presentation process.
Absolutely.
With the customer.
Thanks for that intro, and really excited about the content that's coming up. We're also going to incorporate some guest speakers, colleagues of ours that are in related industries that could really bring some powerful information to the table. As Fred alluded to with the right after our masterful presentation, throughout that process, what we're going to look to do is to gain the customer's confirmation, not only of the product, the method of installation, the warranty associated, the financing or payment options. How are we setting ourselves up to gain or close every escape hatch as we have, to know that they're really a serious buyer? Whether it's the use of tense, whether it's past or present, future. Fred does an exceptional job. I've learned a tremendous amount just by shadowing him on some appointments, and I think you guys will pick up some really, really good content from that today. Some of the other things too is when we're sitting with the customer and going through everything, and what does the wording sound like? What are the the different ways that we're able to really go after the customer and really understand what their motivations are, and then that ties it back into our needs assessment, which as you know, that got a tremendous amount of hits. We've seen a major increase in that on our YouTube channel. So
one of the most important steps too. Because it's the beginning stages of everything coming together.
Sure. Fred, can you walk our viewers through maybe some just either trial closes or just the way that you found most successful?
Yeah, well, for me, what's key is, again, comfortability with the customer, talking as you're going through the process, whether it be window, our main field, obviously, window, siding, roofing, and it really could be applied to all aspects, different fields, obviously, as well, too, but before proceeding, with the next step of the sales process. So, as I present myself and really what I've done in the company that I work for, the first tie down would be, in the future when you definitely decide to put windows on the home, and the key thing really there is in the future. So we really don't want our customers to feel pressure. So when you're in the house, a lot of sales guys, either go for the jugular or everything, as we say, in present tense, so when you put the windows in, again, where you're talking like acting, rather than sometime in the future, when you definitely going to put windows in the home, is my company and my product, the company you'd like protecting your investment.
Sure.
So you're tying that in, and you can't proceed until they commit to that.
Why? Can you tell our viewers why you feel so passionate about that? Why?
Because ultimately, if you do proceed at the end, if you didn't confirm that you were the right person and everything else, that's another obstacle later on objection.
Sure.
Later on in the sales process, where we really, let's be honest, as buyers, sales consumers and everything, it usually comes down to money, and that's really want to close every other door, because we can close on money, whether it be a monthly investment, whether it be a total monthly sum, whether it be a difference from my product to another product, whether maybe it's $1,000 difference, maybe it's $2,000 difference, but if I did everything in those steps of when you eventually do the siding on the home,
Yeah.
is this special, impact rated siding the one you want to use? And it's different from what you've said that you've seen already, but now you just confirmed it's a different product
Yeah.
from what everybody else is using,
Sure.
and they just said they want to use it on their home.
Right.
So later on, when it comes down to the
Right.
nitty gritty of signing the paperwork,
Yeah.
you should have eliminated all those things.
Right.
And if you skip or you try to go ahead, now you can't really go all the way back at that point. It's very hard to do so. So
would you say that you almost give the customer, the client, ammunition to work against you
absolutely,
when it comes down?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I think a lot of guys in the industry, you've become, just I have to sell, I have to do this. So it's you
Yeah.
just follow like step by step by step.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys, and we know some guys too. As we help out individuals that we know personally, it's again, we realize, oh wow, you got you went over the window and everything, but then did you tie it into the sale and confirming that that's what they wanted?
Sure.
Because now at the end of the day they could be like, well, I'm not sure that I really like the window. So that's now you can, well,
Right.
now you already went 3 steps ahead.
Sure.
Now it's okay. I mean, maybe you could go back, but it makes it a lot harder. I feel to do so at that
Sure.
time frame.
Would you say it almost gives the client or customer pause to think about maybe this guy isn't really organized in his presentation and doesn't come off as fluid as we would say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Customers always picking up on that.
Reading that body language.
Yeah. Body language.
Wording.
Do you know what you're talking about?
Sure.
Again, what we're doing too with the podcast is to help other individuals like ourselves because, upkeep.
Yeah.
How do we become very talented? Practice.
Sure.
It has to be reactionary. It just has to fly off the tongue, and each step has to be a smooth transition through the process. You think about like a major league hitter. They follow certain routines. Now, every once in a while, maybe you get off course, and then they take a step back and say, well, I need to tweak this or tweak that.
Sure.
And that's part of what we're doing here.
Yeah, I agree.
But those things are really key. Again, confirmation, tie downs. Customer might say, that's a great looking product. Okay. And the average sales guy would probably go,
yeah,
I told you,
right. Something
and that's again, that's not tying in everything. Right. Keywords like isn't it? So again, you're tying, now you're confirming that they think the product's a wonderful product, not me saying it.
Right.
Not like oh yeah, it is.
Right.
Beat my chest. Customer
exactly.
says, wow, that's a great looking window, isn't it?
Yeah. Would you say that you could almost say to them, tell me why you think it's what do you like? What do you like best about it?
Feed it right back.
Sure.
Feed it right back to them again.
I think that's so powerful when I do that and they get in there and I say, come on, jump in. Let me show you how the tilt operation
let them feel it, let them use it.
Exactly.
Again, the excitement.
Yeah.
And then again, now you just tied it in. You have that emotion. Company, did you like that it's a lifetime warranty, that I'm giving you a lifetime warranty?
Right.
Oh yeah, we love that,
Right.
And those are just, again, everything through the process. Past tense, present tense, I think is a big thing.
Right.
When eventually you decide to put windows on the home, whether you in some time in the future, you're definitely going to put some vinyl siding on the house.
Yeah.
I'm here today, you're going to, again, because the pressure, you feel it. Sometime in the future, you're definitely going to put a new roof on the home, home. And when that time comes, and it's my company and my product, one that you think you like, protect. So it's not asking for a commitment today, in that moment.
Yes.
It's just saying sometime in the future.
Right.
So again, it's not in the present. Do you like the warranty and everything else? Would you consider So now they love everything. You tied them all in.
Yeah.
And then that's where now, as you get down to this is the number.
Right.
Where it's real closing, in our future episodes, we'll really dive in to that. But those are key things for me. The past tense, versus present tense. The confirmation, isn't it, versus making them feel pressure. Sometimes just before I leave, watch kind of the air go out of the room, or people lose, the tension. This guy hasn't even given me a price yet, and and he's already, going to leave the house. You watch people kind of, perk up, and then you dive back into like different things if you feel, maybe you missed something. Those are kind of things where you can catch maybe I skipped something. Right. Let me go back and check something else out.
Right. And I think that's so powerful too, the way you worded that, because now you in your mind, back to the younger days when we used to play Monopoly, right? You can't pass go about $200 unless you get to those check marks or those milestones, and knowing that when you don't sort of check those boxes, at least mentally, that you're opening yourself up to be slaughtered at the time of at the time of really closing and asking for that sale, because now they have every objection in the world to say, you know what, I don't really know if I love the window, and I don't know. And Fred, one of the things you didn't really tie in maybe why you've selected the window you selected. Were you really listening to I'm really concerned that the windows are drafty, or they're seal failure, or how are they going to be warranted for their lifetime? So I think it's so powerful that you go back and you make sure each step outside of price. And we'll get to that too, is how you soften that and set them up to understand what this is really going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, to throw it in there, like in terms of pricing, we talk about like price conditioning too. Say that works through trial closing.
Yes.
No matter what, it's going to be, if I say, we have 10 squares of siding and 10 windows for $15,000, it's too much money. If I tell you start with 10,000, 10 squares of siding, 10 windows for 12,000, it's always going to be too much money.
Yes.
Usually knows an individual going into the house how much, what the job might cost.
Okay.
So parameters, a lower and a higher.
Yeah.
And what I like to do is, people say, I got to do my due diligence is, well, I'm going to do your, due diligence for you today.
Sure.
Just be, in the profession, as long as I have, you can have guys, in just general terms for siding for $10,000, and you can have guys for $50,000. And one guy's, crazy too high, he's looking to retire off you next week, and the other guy's a little too low. It's, it's in the material, and somewhere in between there is the right product and the right, right company for you, and we hope that we're that company for you. So it's, you didn't say like, oh, the siding's this, the siding's that. Yeah. Maybe if they've had other prices, they might have had the low guy, and they might say the high guys, when we've seen it run into companies in our area as well too, that, you can't have that big of a difference.
Sure.
But at least now you set like a stage where, again, maybe the additional number is not shocking to them. Yeah. And sometimes they might say, whoa, whoa, that's, like 10, like if what the job is and they're saying the low end's too much, then, again, maybe it's just misinformation or just, they really don't know.
Sure.
And that's really where you have to do a better job of educating them. But that's one thing, again, like you walk into one store at this price, you'd probably be like, that's ridiculous. You go into the next store and then you're looking for this, maybe TV or piece of furniture, and they're like, oh, wow, this one, one guy's 15,000, one guy's 10, and then the other guy's 9, and by the time you get to the third guy that's 9, you're like, what's, is it broken? Like, does it not work?
Exactly. That's a great way to put it, because you're setting that stage for them, and knowing, like you said, knowing your numbers ahead of time really sets the stage to remove a lot of that pressure. Because now in their mind, they're thinking of those parameters, albeit the range you gave, say from 10 to 50. Yes, is it high? Sure, but at the end of the day, at least they have as one of our mentors would say, you're fence posting it. You kind of gave them an idea where it would be, and then at that point, like, okay, and they know. And sorry, to further your point, when you say you go to a couple different places and know that number is pretty much in line, you say to yourself, okay, now I know that these guys are very, reasonable and within the market.
And I think it's key also knowing your profession when you walk up to know that. I mean, one big thing for us, always working off like printed price lists, because if you're just writing things out anywhere, you start to kind of like customers are just sitting there, you have an awkward moment or silence, and you're just like checking stuff off. So big thing that we do, printed price sheets, because it kind of shows the customer, this is where we got that number. This is how we came up with that. Oh, you want these, this window with the blind, and this, and you can kind of work around that too. So some of the things that, future episodes obviously we'll dive into with, demonstrations and things of that nature. So yeah, I mean, just again, trial closing, anything you could do, those little tie downs to the process, to set yourself up later for success. Or future episodes, we'll really dive into a lot of different closes.
Yes.
Where we'll break down some role playing of just, ping pong close, which like to call different names for like different closes. The isn't it close, so there's a lot of different things that we're going to have coming up in the future, too. And then we'll break into some demos of the products that we sell to show you kind of how we bring that wow factor and tie everything in. to the sales process as well too. But key things I would say for listeners, viewers would be takeaways again, the tie downs. Don't skip ahead. Make sure you take your time.
Yes.
You're on stage when you're there. You have to perform. A good solid performance is really going to set you up for ultimate success. Don't rush through it. If you feel maybe you missed a step, you can always go back, but really confirm your product, confirm your company, and how you do that again is at some time, for me anyway, what I feel is, sometime in the future, you're definitely going to do this work when that time comes.
Yeah.
It's not, when that time comes, it's not today.
Right.
Even though you want it to be today.
Of course.
And ultimately, you're going to try to get them to sign today. But in that moment, you just got confirmation.
Right.
And then when it comes down to, well, we're not sure. Well, John, Mary, well, remember earlier you said that, you love the product and you want to, proceed. And, they would say, oh, yeah, and then most sales guys, you say, you weren't lying to me, were you?
Right,
a lot of times
sure.
the key thing, like, I know you guys were sincere, about it,
Yeah.
again, tying it down in a polite,
Yeah,
respectful way, but ultimately telling them like,
Right.
you guys already confirmed it,
Right. Exactly.
and then, we'll dive in obviously to some really nice closes, which I feel really help our viewers too.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm not, too sure how much more we dive in, with the process today. Is there anything else you want to add?
I think one of the major takeaways, we had a guest speaker at another event we were at, and he brought up a great line that I think is really, really helpful to, and again, it transcends any industry, and it's really, you get paid for what you talk about. And I think one of the major things that, and again, I want to almost discuss this almost at length in another episode is, every other salesperson is coming in, they're plunking down that window, they're talking about, how the features of the window, not necessarily how they'll tie it into a benefit for the customer, but they just get in there and they just want to data dump on everybody. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you get in there and when you're listening, you go through that needs assessment, you understand what they need, you want to tie it into your product. But again, how are we differentiating our product? How are we differentiating an experience to the customer? And then really, how do we tie it back in? And that's kind of the segue into what we talked about today. But always keep that statement in mind. You get paid for what you talk about. And that goes with any category, anywhere, anytime. And because the customer has no knowledge beyond, you want to treat everyone as though they have no intellect about that particular product, service, offering at all, and then wow them with everything that you're going to bring to the table.
Yeah, and then might have other quotes, that's really the difference maker,
Right.
The wow factor.
Right.
Again, getting that emotion out of them. And one thing, isolation too, we always try to focus on the, dominant decision maker, which,
Yes.
usually you could tell by body language early on, kind of by the way they take action or take charge through the process.
Yes.
Maybe
Yes.
maybe I said that price and they, usually the first one that might say something.
Yes.
Or, I don't like that, or well, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
That's usually the person that you're really gonna have to focus your most attention on.
Yeah.
Another thing I always try to do is sit people on the right side of me.
Okay.
So that you're talking actually to the left side of the brain. The left side of the brain is actually the emotional side.
Okay.
The right side of the brain is the rational side.
Yeah.
And you got, in sales you try to,
Sure.
little techniques and everything that you do, but
Yeah.
you want to deal with the emotional side because
Yeah.
you're talking about emotional person and things like that.
Sure.
Not that you don't want them to think about the other end of
Right.
it, but the more they have to think, the
Yeah.
more that you're probably going to get, I have to think about it or
Sure.
different objections.
That's a great pickup there, because I know a lot of times I'll try to position myself where I'm not in sort of an adversarial position where I'm sitting directly across the table, sort of a employer-employee look. You sort of like, if the Fred's point is that you're sitting alongside of them, and that way you're getting to that side of the brain and really getting to them. So it's a very softened,
Yeah, so
sort of,
talking to that, and then whenever you give a price,
yeah,
always sit back.
yeah,
Because a lot of guys are up, close
Yeah,
to the table,
sure.
but just sit back, again, relaxed position.
yeah,
That you're just kind of rolling it out there, and then see what happens from there.
Right.
And that's some of the stuff coming up that we're really going to dive into to really help you overcome objections. Because if you
Yeah.
do everything else right, then it's okay. Hey, you get think about it. How do I overcome that? Too much money. How do I overcome that?
right,
Monthly investment. We're going to break down a lot of different ones coming forward.
yeah,
So look for that too. And I think that's it for today.
Yeah,
We covered
yeah, absolutely.
great amount of stuff.
right,
Really excited again going forward. We're going to have this
Absolutely.
definitely on say a
Consistent.
7 to 10 day different. Probably try to keep it within 7 days but 10 at the worst going forward with all the episodes. And then if there's any, again, questions, email us, follow us on Instagram, YouTube, hey, I need help with this, particular close or something, that obstacle that you're having. We love to answer, your questions. That's what we're here for.
Yeah,
that's why we're
exactly.
doing it.
Yeah.
So we hope to hear from everybody. Anything else? Or?
No, I think it's a great, powerful episode. A couple tidbits that really take away, the overlying theme. As we mentioned, just really, maybe take some time when you get, if you couldn't follow it, completely, set aside a little bit of time, review it, listen to it. I think a lot of key takeaway, take some notes, and, like I said, we're here for you. We're growing with you at the same rate. So, we thank you for your time and value, your consideration.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Have a great day, everyone.